We're getting into the lobby here. He's like, he sighed. Shin's like, oh, have you worked on any builds? And Hero's like, it's my first time playing on the new version of the game. So Hero, he's coming in raw, bappy. He has not been practicing. He hasn't played too much of this patch. But here we go, spawning in the bottom hand corner. Shin playing. Please commentate well, Ryung, because Zerg is OP. There we go, spawning in the bottom hand corner of Blackrock. We have our first finalist here. We have the red Zerg player, the South Korean Zerg. It is Shin. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss himself, representing T1. It is herO. Let's go. Let us go. And again, a shout out to Kronos. Kronos, for those who don't know, he is a fellow Cranky Duckling. He's one of our own. He is a Korean Cranky Duckling, and he is providing some translations. And very often, whenever we have Korea versus Korea, there's a lot of banter in the lobby chat. It can be difficult to keep up with, so Kronos providing some translations here. So, thank you to Kronos. The S in front stands for Shin, so that was Shin's comment. But if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. Also, I guess, for those who are unaware, shout out to Ryung. Ryung, the Tunitarian for the Tuna Cup, is also casting in Korean. He's casting in Korean. We're casting in English. So shout out to Ryung. Este Ryung. For now, we're going to be opening up, going to be selling in. Welcome to Blackrock. Blackrock, as I mentioned before, is a bit of a more open map when it comes to the third and fourth locations. Aggression can be favored, and I would say that coming into a more standard Nexus first, by the way, Jesus. Straight Nexus first out of here. When it comes to the mid game of PvZ, I will be favoring Shin. Aggression is favored, and it's very common for Zerg players to cut workers early on, get up to 3 or 4 base saturation, and commit and be hyper aggressive with like a hatched based a lair tech army. And I can see here having some struggles defending. We'll see how our players do decide to open up. We shall see. As I mentioned before, herO, he was letting us know in the lobby chat that he hasn't really played this patch yet, this version of the game, so he's very inexperienced. Hey, he made it to the finals, despite that inexperience, but we'll see. We shall see. Let's go. Can we Gamma? Yeah, Gamma's on. No, there we go. Here we go. Okay, we're going to be settling in. When it comes to what kind of changes will be influencing this dynamic and this matchup here, there's quite a bit to it. Now, what I will say is that before, as we're going for a bit of a link flood early on, Jesus, we're investing a little bit harder here into early link aggression. We have, what, 12 lings on the way? Geez, sorry, 10. So 10 lings are on the way. Shin, he will hide the majority of the lings to move that across the map. He reveals only 2. So here is unaware. herO did open Zealot first. Remember, it was Nexus first. Nexus first into early Zealot. He will fully wall off. And again, this was a big investment from Shin. We'll see if it pays off. As so far, herO does fully wall. So herO should be fine. We have more lings moving out. Stalker's almost done. And we do get some decent damage on the Stargate at least. Do we force a cancel? No shot. No shot. Oh, the Stargate. Stargate does get low. And okay, only gets low. Stalker does arrive, and herO, he defends well. So far, a better start for herO. This was a big investment from Shin, and so far it has not paid off. But winding it back here when it comes to the patch itself. So when it comes to the more extreme first version of the PTR, we did see a lot of defensive play from Protoss because it was so expensive to build up into a gateway composition. As we've already seen earlier in this broadcast, I will say that gateway play is now much more viable, as it went from 50-50 to morph in warp gates to 25-25. So that has allowed for Protoss players to be more active and aggressive. And I was very impressed by Geralt when he went for hyper gateway aggression against Yang Yakov with the strength of the new pylon. For those that are, again, curious, pylon or stalker aggression or gateway aggression is strengthened because of the pylon. The pylon no longer has slow warp-ins. Now the pylon has a much faster warp-in without the gateway. So you can reinforce with your army, you can reinforce with a proxy pylon that much faster because you no longer have to wait for a gateway to actually get across the map and to set up your proxy location. So we have seen some successful gateway aggression coming into the new live version of the game, but I don't know if herO said himself he hasn't really played with it too much, so I don't know if he's willing to play around with it. I don't know if he's willing. For now, faster third expansion. Stargate opener into the third base. We're waiting for the Twilight Council timing and whether or not we go for a forge thereafter. Meanwhile, I would say that SHIN has invested quite heavily into these Zerglings. They haven't really done much, and this has been hurting the economy for herO, as herO is rushing Tempest. So if you were watching the PTR, if you were watching GSL CK and some of the other PTR tournaments that we were hosting on our channel, you would have seen a lot of Protoss players do this. What is the rationale for this, and why has this been more common? The rationale is because of how expensive it is to get into Warp Gates. I will still stand by saying that Warp Gate is now more accessible than previously in the first version of the PTR, but and we can already see here, oh, here is being cheeky. Fleet Beacon, he gets scouted. Because he gets scouted, bam, Forge and Twilight Council. This looks like we might just go for a Mothership rush into maybe even early charge or early blink. Yep, just Mothership. So we're going for the Mothership rush. The Mothership, honestly, the timing of the Mothership here, if SHIN, because he's scouted the Fleet Beacon, if he goes for an all-in, if he cuts workers early and commits to breaking the third base, the Mothership can defend and shut that down, and then SHIN will be in a really rough position. So we'll see how SHIN reacts. He can scout though. Oof. This is where the production of herO is hurting him, right? Because the Fleet Beacon got scouted, initially you should be thinking, like a Tempest rush or a Carrier rush. But because the Stargate was thrown down here, SHIN sees, like he just scouted the Stargate, he knows nothing's being built. So this is where the early game building plays, and now he rescouts. Yeah, you can see. He rescouts the Stargate, he sees nothing. So he knows that it's a fake out. Jeez, he almost kills. Oh my god. So again, the early building placement here is hurting herO. Behind this, we see more roaches amassing into Roach Hydra. We can see that SHIN is not ignoring his kind of ground army and roach setup against a gateway composition. It is going to be +1 in charge. And herO is switching to his ground composition, which SHIN is going to be ready for. Is going to be ready for it. Gateways are coming online. I do like the overall idea here from herO, like the idea of trying to fake out your opponents and try to force an overreaction. I do like that. It didn't really pan out, but I like the idea behind it. SHIN does rescouts. Mothership is revealed. SHIN is building up his Roach Hydra. I believe there is a Temple Archives. Yes, okay, there is a Temple Archives, and Storm has begun for herO. And we'll see if herO can break through. Like, hero's building up a very committed ground army. A lot of gateways. Immortals are on the way. High Templar, Storm. The gateways have yet to come online, but soon herO will push. It's a pretty hefty army. Now, something important to bear in mind as well that we should, that I feel like is easy to kind of gloss over, is the increased amount of resources in the main base, in the natural. It means that a lower base count is much more viable. It sustains you for a lot longer as well. So the idea of herO staying on 3 bases like this, usually in the live version of the game, the main base will be starting to mine out. We'll be already getting through like 2 patches here, like 1 patch here, but the main base and the natural are still full. Like, they're still full of resources, so you can still stay on a 3 base count for a lot longer. You can sustain yourself and have a much more efficient economy. This is new to this version of the game. I feel like it's easy to overlook this, but oh, very, very nice contamination. But it does mean that 2 base play and 3 base play is stronger on this patch. SHIN does move in. They're rid of the mineral change. Oh, never mind. Was that a part of the shadow fix? So never mind. Sounds like they rerouted it. I'll take you on your word for that. As Roach Hydra does move in, does snipe the expansion. Very nice pickoff. Oh, snipes a robo. And at the same time, herO does pop off across the map here. 10 drone kills. Oh my god. Yeah, 10 drones going to be going down. Catching up some units, and SHIN has to race all the way back home. So not a bad run by here from herO, but he did lose his third. He lost the third expansion, so SHIN will soon max. He'll soon max out. He'll soon build up. And we're going to be heavily reliant on Storm here. Heavily reliant. We have 9 High Templar. I'm getting flashbacks from Geralt 'J versus Young Jakob, not going to lie. Because we also had 9 Templar there as well. SHIN, we'll see how he does engage. Hold on, I'm gonna quickly open up the patch notes because I just taken for granted the idea that they push through those changes, but if that isn't the case, I'm gonna have to double check. Oh, nice storms. Yeah, nice storms on the Hydras. They come in from behind. The high tempo are exposed. Ooh, we will tank those storms. 0 storms left. Mothership just barely maintain himself, and with that, herO breaks through. Yeah, herO breaks through the main army. Storms did connect. Archons morph in. And can he keep going? herO. He's gonna keep pushing. He does have to keep going here. Roaches, they try to engage. We have 4 immortals. Oh my god. Yeah, heavy immortal count roaches. They cannot engage, not like this. They get punished by the immortals. More zealots have arrived. Do you have a pylon? We do. Yeah, we have the reinforcing pylon, so faster reinforcements. Does get across the map. And with that, herO, he's done it. With that, herO, he has broken SHIN, breaks through the expansion, takes down the mineral line as well, and herO snowballs out of control. Ay, ay, ay. As he cannot be stopped, and GG gets called. herO, he will take game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. herO, he will take a lead in the series. Again, hero's able to just build up on 3 bases and mass up that heavy immortal storm army. I was feeling that SHIN would be able to shut down that 3rd base and engage ahead of time, but those storms were brutal. When SHIN engaged, when he flanked the army, it was a decent concave. He took so many storms to the face, and even though he did reset the High Templar count, which he did do, he killed all the High Templar, he forced the Archons, he still lost so much in the process due to all those storms. And with that, herO just snowballed. He just snowballed out of control. GG, well played. With that, herO does take game number 1. GG. GG. As we... Oh, okay. When it comes to the resources, so I should clarify, just in case there's any misconception in the chat. They reverted the minerals change. The wording there is very important. They reverted the mineral change. They did not revert the gas change, which is interesting. So the amount of gas per base has been increased. Has increased. And the amount of minerals has stayed the same. Okay. So same amount of minerals, but increased gas. Which I don't think necessarily impacted that game, but is good to know. shit, he was asking, why is the mothership so strong? True. Ah. There we go. Here we go. We are getting into our next game. We're going to be loading into At Attorney's Edge, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of At Attorney's Edge, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Red Zerg down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and make a series out of this. It is SHIN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss representing T1. It is herO. Let's go. Let us go. Does herO know that Storm has been nerfed? Storm was nerfed when it comes to its damage. That doesn't mean it's not strong, though. It's important to bear that in mind. But Storm does do less damage. Despite that, still, the Storms, they shut down SHIN's army pretty hard. Like, it just... The strength is still there. Not as strong as the previous version of the game, that is true. But it's still there. herO probably knows the patch better than anyone since his income depends on it. I would push back against that slightly. Obviously, much respect to herO, but herO has been known to not really dabble too much in the PTR and to be unfamiliar with changes. It's like this happened in the previous patch, if you remember, where he was unaware of the storm changes when they went live. Just for some context, when it comes to this tournament, SHIN asked herO if he had come up with any builds since the PTR when they played last, and herO said that he hasn't played the game since. Like he did not play the PTR outside of GSLCK. So I didn't play the PTR, and he said himself that he didn't really know any new builds in this version of the game. So what I should say is that especially here, like day 1 of the patch, herO's freestyling a little bit. He's freestyling, which, to give credit as well, that is also herO's strengths. Like herO, he's known for being a little bit more flexible with his play and a lot more exploratory as well. And I would say that especially when it comes to acclimating to a new patch, those are the players that are going to be stronger, right? The players that are a little bit more fluid, that are less rigid, are going to be stronger early on in the patch before the meta kind of settles down a little bit. So players like herO, players like SHIN, yeah, these two, yeah, true, are players that I think of a little bit more. Compared to like a classic or compared to like a Solar. Like I'd say that like SHIN and Rogue are a lot more exploratory in their play. Solar a little bit less so. And again, comparing herO to classic. But here we go. So the total is the same, but it still mines out slower because the 1,500 instead of 900 small patches. True. Hold on. Let me just double check. Yeah. So basically, regarding that comment, so the idea that the main bases, they mine out slower is actually still true. It's not as extreme as previously. It doesn't have increased patches, but basically the smaller patches have more resources than before, so they last longer than previously. So you're able to sustain yourself and have more efficient mining on a lower base count, more so than previously. It's diminished from what the original values were in the first iteration of the PTR, but it's still increased. So our comments in the last game still had merit to them. Not as much merit, but some merit nonetheless. But good to know for sure. They just changed some of the values around. You know, behind this, it is going to be another Stargate open out of herO. This time, the Stargate is further back in the main base, so this time it's going to be a little bit harder to scout the follow-up. Oh, as we do open up Roach Warren first from SHIN. Okay, interesting. So earlier Roach Warren, later Eva Chambers, later upgrades out of SHIN. This is a very safe way to play. It does mean that if, say for example, herO were to open up with an earlier Twilight Council, an earlier Glaive Adept aggression, then SHIN would be ready for it. Likewise, this is more signifying a Roach heavy play in the mid game as well. Are settling in. As from here, we're joining, we're saturating, we do have our lair on the way. Now, when it comes to this map as well, we do see both players expand here towards the southern half of the map. They're spinning on the low ground. If you recall, we did mention how the rush distance background is shortened if you do take this northern expansion, if you do expand at the triangular third location. Here we can work towards the high yield mineral patches instead, the gold base. Meanwhile, once again, fast fleet beacon here out of herO. SHIN does commit into early Roach aggression, and I'm curious what the plan is with the lair, as we're still taking gases. German taxi. Okay, German taxi, we're going to go for a Roach Queen all in. We're not going to fully saturate the third base. We just have some light saturation here, and we'll see how hard this hits. Bearing in mind that herO, ooh, double Stargate. Oh god. This might just be a build order win, funnily enough. As we're going for the all in, as herO is rushing Tempest. He's actually rushing Tempest this time. Oof. So the German taxi is coming. We're setting up with the German taxi, flooding across the map. Yeah. It's a German taxi pad. Does get spotted ahead of time, but behind this, again, herO, the production's going to be hurting him more than helping. Oh, does force the early unload. Okay. Does delay. Does force the early unload. herO, he has a little bit of time here to set up all his batteries, but these are still late. He's throwing down all the batteries, and remember, when it comes to his tech, he has no blink, he has no robo, he has no immortal production. The production itself is hurting him. He's going to mass oracle as a reaction to this. Yeah, a bit of a panic. I mean, what else can he do? He has delayed. He has bought some time. Oh, we commit? Oh, good. Yeah, he commits to the Shade, and they get surrounded. Adepts are going to be shut down here. Crazy Shade out of herO. He will lose every single Adept. Ay, ay, ay. He has no battery support for his Adepts. We have 6 batteries, but what are we helping here? I mean, I guess the Mass Oracle. Yeah, we focus on the Queens. Meanwhile, the batteries are being focused down. They're putting in a lot of work. The batteries, I mean, every Queen falls to the Mass Oracle. Does he hold? No shot. The Mass Oracle, he's holding. herO. How many oracles do we have? 7 oracles. Despite the crazy Shade, which I do stand by that being a mistake, by the way. This would have been a stronger hold with all those Adepts. Would have been a stronger defense. But the Mass Oracle is holding. Ooh, nice round. Yeah, nice round on the Stalkers. So Ling drop into the main base. We have the reactive warp in. And more importantly, we have more oracles. We have more oracles on the way as well. Lings, they might be able to snipe the Philly Beacon itself. Mothership's already in production. And the all-in has failed. The all-in at this point has failed. We have more Lings into the main. They will kill the Fleet Beacon. Yeah, the beacon goes down. The Adepts get surrounded as well. Behind this, SHIN, he drones up slightly. He gets up to 55. So he drones up from 43 up to 55 workers. That is still under 3 base saturation. And we're going into Mass Hydra. Second wave, second all-in. So here comes the second wave. Oh, SHIN starts to drone. SHIN, he does start to drone up, so it looks like SHIN is going to try to macro out of this. But SHIN is miles behind. Again, herO has the stronger economy, the stronger worker count, the 4th base now on the way, right next to his 3rd. Lings, they try to pick in. But it's going to be a rough road to recovery here for SHIN. It's looking rough. Now, SHIN, he did make a wave of workers, but he only made an extra, what, 4 drones? So droning up to 59. Still droning up a little bit more. But only a little bit. It still feels like he's going to commit. Like, there are some workers on the way, but he's still staying on a very low drone count in the grand scheme of things. Still under 3 base saturation. Now, what I will say that's going to help SHIN with this all-in is that there's no splash damage, right? There's no Storm. There's no Storm. There's no Colossus. So Massing Hydra can pop off. Army gets spotted. Oh! Okay, the army is spotted. Hydra speed is still going to get done. Oh! It clear. No detection! No shot! No detection! Oh, God! The cloak! The cloak pops off and every Hydra goes out. Ay, ay, ay. No detection. The mothership is crazy. GG. GG, well played. No detection, papi. Ay, ay, ay. GG. And here he shuts down the push. He shuts down the all-in. And herO takes a 2-0 lead in the series. No shot. GG, well played. SHIN, again, the lack of detection in the mothership did kind of slip his mind. Slipped my mind as well, by the way. Like, I was hyper-fixated on dealing with the oracles. Now, I don't blame SHIN, so running it back a little bit here. Remember, what did SHIN do? SHIN, he sniped the Fleet Beacon. Remember, he killed the Fleet Beacon. So, in my mind, I'd have to double check, but I don't think that SHIN actually saw the mothership until it was revealed. In his mind, it's very possible that he thought because he killed the Fleet Beacon, he denied any kind of mothership, right? And he wouldn't have to worry about that. And then, bam, it gets revealed, and it's like, oh, so that just shuts him down. So, I believe that's the rationale for that, is that SHIN was unaware of that because he had killed the Fleet Beacon earlier, and then gets caught with his pants down. GG. GG, well played. No. But here we go. We're getting into game number 3 here, and we'll see. We'll see if SHIN can make a series out of this. Is this a new strat? I've never seen a Mass Oracle army. As a reminder, herO was being all-in. It was a Ling Queen all-in. It was a German taxi. And herO, because he was already going for it, herO saying, I've used all the builds I prepared. SHIN saying, such a hard game. But very quickly, remember, because herO was blindly going for a Tempest Rush, like remember, he went double Stargate. The plan was not to go into Mass Oracle. The plan was going to like a Tempest Rush or a Carrier Rush. But because he was stuck with double Stargate, and because he saw an all-in coming, he was forced into Mass Oracle because he had no other tech, right? He had no Twilight Council, he had no Robo. So the Mass Oracle was a reaction there to herO, from herO to the all-in that was happening. And this goes into what we mentioned at the beginning of that game, if you remember. We spoke about how herO is a very flexible player. That's a good example of that, where herO was kind of stuck with a subpar setup, which should have been killed, by the way. Like going double Stargate Fleet Beacon against an all-in, that should get you killed. But herO, he was able to scout ahead of time, react with what he could, throw down all his batteries, and respond with Mass Oracle, and was able to shut it down. Impressive. An unorthodox defense, but hey, you know, you work with what you got. But here we go, spawning in the bottom hand corner of the Old Sun Temple, we have the red Zerg player, the red Zerg player himself, down heavily in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. It is SHIN. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing T1, leading the series 2-0, and 1 game away from claiming the series, saying that he's run out of builds. It is herO. Let's go. Now, does herO know that that Warp Gate is not as bad as it once was in the first iteration of the PTR? Curious. Both builds, of course, have been a little bit reliant on heavy Fleet Beacon play, Mothership play in both Game 1 and in Game 2 as well. We'll see if he goes for another fast Fleet Beacon or if he does something different. Eyes on herO. Let's go. As for now, we do have our hatch gas pool. SHIN does take the unnatural natural. Did herO block? He did. Okay, so herO did block him. Very quickly here, welcome to the Old Sun Temple. This is a 4-player spawn map, but both players scout each other immediately, and this is close spawns. Horizontal spawn location, so short rush distance by ground. This does mean that now we have a bit of a shorter distance to traverse, and aggression can be favored here. SHIN was forced to take the unnatural natural, expanding away from herO because he was not aware of his location initially, and we'll see how herO does approach this from here. We've been seeing some heavy roach play out of SHIN, Game 1 and Game 2. Game 2, of course, we saw the German taxi, we saw the attempted all-in out of SHIN. Coming into Game 3, we're expecting something more standard. We'll see. I'm expecting like mid-game aggression, more so than anything. Shout out to the tuna. We go. As it does poke in, disrupting some of the mining. Doesn't kill any drones, but does disrupt. Behind this, another Stargate open out of herO. And again, every game so far, Stargate into Fleet Beacon. We'll see if that trend continues. I'm not too fond of the idea of seeing that 3 games in a row. Like, I feel like we've seen some diverse play with the Fleet Beacon so far in Game 1 and Game 2. But relying on something like that too heavily in a series does often get you killed at this level of play. So we're hoping for something different. Eyes are on herO. Oh, speaking of different, Void Ray. Void Ray opener for the first time at herO. Double Oracle into main base, getting 1, 2, 3 drones. That's some okay damage, denying mining time. Catching out 3 workers for 2 adepts. Not bad. And the Void Ray, of course, the goal is to hunt down the Overlords. Hunt down the Overlords, night vision, night scouting. From here, herO can go into a fast Fleet Beacon, into a Carrier or Tempest Rush, or into Mass Void Ray, into a second Stargate, or he can go into a Twilight Council, into heavy Blink play instead. The point here, though, the benefit is that herO can go for whatever he wants, with SHIN not scouting with the Overlord. He can keep it hidden. It could be something crazy, or it could be standard. The point is that it's going to be harder for SHIN to piece it all together. As here he does catch 3 Overlords. Oof. Yeah, it's going to be 3 dead Overlords. We have 1 Overlord here outside of the natural. We have another Overlord here. We have another Overlord here. So these 3 Overlords should be hunted down. Do we get a 4th? Do we get this one as well? Uh-oh. I'm assuming that it's going to be at least 3. We'll see if SHIN can hide them. It's going to be on SHIN to hide them. As hero's looking. He's looking for the Overlords. Rotates over towards the main base, so he does find the second Overlord. Remember, we still have a 3rd and 4th Overlord here in the center. And it is going to be for the fast Twilight Council. So Void Ray, double Void Ray into Twilight Council. Again, so far, unscouted. And it should not be scouted. As here is still searching. Searching for the Overlords. SHIN behind this is going to be going for the early Evo Chamber into the lair. It looks like SHIN did change his mind a little bit. Early Chamber is typically for +1 melee, but going for the faster lair here is for something more tech heavy. We might be rushing into a Hydra Den. We'll keep an eye on the lair. Ooh, does find that Overlord. That's 3 Overlords going down. And 1 Overlord survived. Okay, so 3 Overlord kills. Very nice damage, by the way. Really nice catch here by herO, catching 3 Overlords. We typically expect 1. Maybe 2. But 3 is crazy. Like, SHIN is still supply block, by the way. Oof. Brutal supply block. 6 gateways be thrown down. That's 8 gates in total. That is a heavy gateway count here for herO. It looks like a 3 base, 8 gate all in. Why do we say an 8 gate all in? I mean, it isn't just the heavy gateway count on a low base count, but also no forge. No forge, no +1. Lack of setup for upgrades tells us that herO doesn't plan for any upgrades, doesn't plan for a forge, doesn't plan for a longer game. It's going to be like a Soul Train-esque all in with sentries, force fields, and mass stalker. So heavy aggression out of herO. It's going to hit very hard. And it's on SHIN to realize what's going on. SHIN, he has to piece it together. Behind this, he is rushing into the Hydra Den. +1 range into mass Hydra. His Ling's going to be that much weaker. Now, I think SHIN is just dead. Now, what concerns me here is that SHIN, he's setting up for Blink Stalker aggression. What is SHIN vulnerable against? Force fields. Like mass sentry, which is what he gets scouted. Yeah, he doesn't get scouted. We have mass force fields, mass sentry. How do you deal with a mass force field army? Ravagers. But there are no Ravagers. Specifically, Lingbane Hydra is very vulnerable to this, and that's what SHIN has. I say Lingbane Hydra, just Ling Hydra. It's going to be a tough hold. It's going to be a very tough hold. Force fields can dominate when it comes to these pushes. There's that reinforcing pylon. Does get shut down. Very nice. We mentioned earlier that in this patch, pylons are much more threatening. You don't need a gateway. Brutal position here as Lings, they cannot engage. Oh my god. Here we go. We have 2 backup pylons behind this. We have the fast warp-ins. True. There's a 4-second warp-ins without a gateway. Here they come. Here it commits. Does get 1, does get 2 sentries already. Very nice. 1, 2 sentries, 3 sentries go down. But the force was a zone away all these Hydras. Wasted DPS. Queen's getting sniped. Hydras as well. And that's already half the army. That's already half the army going down. But we don't have any more force fields. True. Yeah, no more force fields. Hydras, they collapse in. With 0 force fields, Hydras can dominate. They can dominate here. And with that, SHIN, he's holding. He's holding on. It's still close. We're overextending. We're overextending a little bit here. We gotta respect the stalkers. But SHIN is massing up more Hydras. And again, to lose all those sentries immediately was brutal. And speaking of, sentry does pull away. Messy engage here for herO, and we're gonna force a series. We have a series. We have a back and forth. The Hydras, they shut this down completely, and with that, GG gets called. SHIN puts a point on the board. GG. Whew. GG, well played. SHIN, he will put a point on the board. He will shut down the all-in. Again, as herO, he lost all the sentries immediately, so he only had limited force fields. I want to say that 2, if I remember correctly, I want to say that 2 or 3 sentries went down before spending their energy as well. So some wasted energy, some wasted sentries early on. Rough start there for herO. The first wave of force fields were good, but he only had 1 wave because he lost all the sentries, right? He only had 1 wave of force fields. That's all he had when it came to that push. With that, GG. GG, well played. Whew, we have a back and forth, and can SHIN force the ace match? Ideally, I want all 5 games. Regardless of who wins, whether it's herO, SHIN, I'm greedy. I want the ace match. I want as much games as possible, but the pressure is still on SHIN. Let's go. Oh, as we're going to be loading into Fear and Faith, the other 4-player spawn map. Let's go. Let us go. Yeah. But here we go. Here we go. We're getting into our 4th game. And again, SHIN, momentum is on his side. True. Momentum is on his side. And herO did admit himself as well that he's run out of builds. So we're freestyling, Pappy. 3 base 8 gate all in with a 2 base economy. SHIN, do the same thing again. But here we go. We're getting into our next game, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Fear and Faith, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Red Zerg down in the series, but momentum is on his side. Can we force a game 5? It is SHIN. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss himself, representing T1. It is herO. Let's go. Let us go. We're getting into game number 4 here. Again, herO has a 2-1 lead in the series, and we are once again loading into a 4-player spawn map. You can spawn in bottom left, bottom right, top right, and top left. Now, a way to help when it comes to scouting, when it comes to 4-player spawn maps, is we have a monorail system. I don't know if you can see here, but all these bases are connected via this tubing monorail system. Think of monorail, think of like Futurama, I guess, like these tubes. They do connect all the corner bases to each other, but when it comes to this tubing system, only workers can fit inside. Bear that in mind. So that it's only worker scouts available here, only workers can fit inside. herO, he just ignores it and just goes for a regular scout. Does he know? He might not know that there is a monorail system for an easier scout. He just goes for a regular scout, and hey, he does find the drone, does find the worker, is aware of the spawn location. No. We also have some tubes here as well. The monorail system also connecting some of these other bases in the center and on the edges of the map. This will allow for expanding, to be able to expand here and take a 5th base. When it comes to Fear and Faith, your initial 4-base setup is pretty, do I want to say secure? So you have a high ground natural, so this base is pretty solid, to be honest. Likewise, there is no Reaper Cliff into the main. This is one of our criticisms about this map when we were judging Fear and Faith, is that there's no Reaper Cliff. To get into the main base, you have to go through the natural, so Terran scouting is going to be more difficult on this map. You will have to scout with your SCV. Like, worker scouting is going to be a little bit more paramount when it comes to getting to the bases, depending on the matchup. Likewise, you do have your low ground 3rd and low ground 4th base. They are a little bit more spread out here, and they can be more accessible. There's only one main angle of attack here when it comes to both bases. This area here is also choked up as it is split in half. So a 4-base setup is relatively secure. Relatively. Getting a 5th base can be quite difficult on Fear and Faith. Again, that's where like this monorail system helps a little bit when it comes to taking a 5th, if we get to that stage of the game. If we get there. Meanwhile, once again, we have close spawns, so that happened on Old Sun Temple. We're having it here as well. Close spawns here on Fear and Faith. Adept moves out. We're expecting a Stargate opener, but again, eyes are on herO. A monorail system is exclusive to this map, like no similar features in others. The other map that featured this was Exarch. Exarch was also a map that was a part of the top 16 finalists in TLMC, but did not make it through, which is a bit of a shame. Like, personally, I did enjoy Exarch more than Old Sun Temple. Instead of a monorail system, Exarch had like aqueducts, that aqueducts with speed zones as well for easier scouting. Bearing in mind that this can be used not to just scout, but this can be used to get a ninja base. Like, if you really wanted to, once you scout your opponents, you can send a worker to bottom right and then take a ninja expansion. So that's also something that this can be used for, or even like hide tech as well. Ooh, as we open up Glaive Adepts, okay. So Twilight Council opener, not Stargates, into Glaives. I'm curious if this is going to be 3-gate Glaives, or if we go for a Robo alongside this as well. Like, how committed is this from herO? How many gateways? Like, are we just going to expand behind this and stay on a minimal gateway counts? This looks like macro Glaives. Yeah, okay. Macro Glaive Adepts. Sorry, when I say macro Glaives, so typically you would not get a 3rd base this quickly with Glaive Adepts because you get a Robo, but specifically this game, there is no Robo, which means there's no Warp Prism, so there's no reinforcing across the map. Because there's no Robo, those excess resources are spent on a Nexus. But I feel like usually this is done with the 3 gateways, not 2. Usually it's like 3-gate Glaives into a 3rd. This is 2-gate Glaives into a 3rd. SHIN, he's not aware of the expanse. God God damn it, Shin. Every time. I can't look at Shin's vision without getting blasted by Diva. Every time. God damn it. Shin scouts. Big scout. Yeah, it does confirm. There's a third. Shin now knows that this is not too committed. Going to safety roach warren. And here he will cancel the shade. Okay. Does cancel. Does move into the mineral line. And might get a drone. Oh, rough pathing. Yeah, rough pathing here. Here he gets locked down. Better engage from Shin. Catching up more adepts. We shade into the mineral line. And still only trading with Zerglings. And no major economic damage. Now, what's scary here, on the one hand, yes, herO, he has a faster expansion. He can transition faster as well into a greater economy. That is true. But the ground army is going to be lacking here. We have one immortal on the way. We have a handful of gateway units. The army is very much so lacking for herO. And here comes the Link counterattack. Yeah, here come the Zerglings. herO, he does warp in. Oh no! No battery. Yeah, no safety battery. Gets us around, and 2 adepts will fall. Yeah, does catch 2 adepts. Does he get the Stalker? He does. Stalker goes down as well. Heavy losses for herO. Late batteries. As Shin does overextend a little bit here. He's still rallying though. Now he will get the batteries though. Does get the batteries. Does get one. That's a kill, not a cancel. Kills one. Cancels the other. And again, the reason why so much damage is being done is because of the failed Glaive Adepts, right? Glaives did end up slowing down everything else. And they weren't quite worth it. Wasn't quite worth it. So rough follow-up. Nexus may even just get sniped. Oof. Yeah, it's gonna go down. Massive pickup. herO cannot expand. Prism is on the way, an extra gateway, and we have how many gates in total? 4? Oh, no, much more than that. Okay. It's going to be a 2-base, 6-gate all-in. I assume, I say all-in, we are getting a forge. We do have +1 on the horizon here, but upon losing the 3rd expansion, like, no shot we macro out of this. No shot. We'll see. As here, he is massing up his adept army. Yep, still committing to warp-ins. And here comes herO. The pressure's on. He needs to do damage with this. He needs to do damage. Back at home, Shin is going for a Spire. Taking further up. Oh, here's supply blocked. Now's not the time. Here, he has a bank. He has a bank, and he just now finishes up his pylons. 3 more pylons on the way. Here moves in. And I mean, hey, this is mainly Zerglings. They cannot engage with the Adepts. Oof, does go for this round. Shows the Vials! The Vials! Oh my god, massive connections. The Adepts, they go down. So do the Zerglings, though. Yeah, Lings going down as well. Immortals are exposed, getting 1. Ooh, Prism gets sniped, and herO will lose everything. He'll lose everything here. The Immortals, the Prism, Adepts, they do shade into the mineral bases, into the mineral lines. Cashing out a couple of drones. But remember, there's a Spire behind this. There's Mutas on the way, and nothing shoots up. There's no Stalkers, there's no Stargates. Spire now gets scouted. And with that, we are looking to force the ace match. Oof. Yeah, we're looking to force the ace match here as Shin, he shuts down the army. He will lose 12 drones, and that is a lot of economic damage, and that'd be okay if herO had a 3rd. But he doesn't. He doesn't have a 3rd base, so that was not enough. If he had an expansion, if he had an economy, different story, but there's no follow-up here. As ups are being shut down. hero's trying to be active, doing what he can. Oh no, the contamination! Contamination on the Twilight Council. He's crazy. Does contaminates. With that, still limited anti-air. Mutas are revealed. I mean, he already saw the Spire. And again, this is good damage. 6 drones, but GG. Like, there's just nothing else behind this. And SHIN, he will tie up the series 2-2. We are going to the ace match. Whew. GG, well played. Again, a very experimental build out of herO. Winding it back, what was the build? Twilight Council opener into 2-gate glaives into a third base. In the live version of the game previously, there was a build that was very similar to this, but it was 3 gates. It was 3-gate glaives into a third base, so you'd have some extra adepts, and you'd always have to be very careful with how you shaded, because if you would lose all those adepts prematurely, that'd be game, because there would be no way to defend your third base. You'd have a very, very shaky follow-up, and you saw that it was even more extreme here because of the lower gateway count as well. It was 2-gate this time, so less adepts, less reinforcements. Unfortunately, here his battery was late at his third. There was no pylon battery setup, so there was a weaker defensive setup, and he lost the expansion. He was killed, or the third base was killed, not cancelled, so it was a brutal loss there, and it all just kind of fell apart. Hero did follow up with a 2-base all-in with the 2 Immortals and Mass Glaze, but by then it was just a little bit too little too late. He got surrounded, got locked down, Biles connected. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we're getting into the ace match. We're loading into the final game of the series, going to be loading into Sanctuary 3. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of Sanctuary 3, we have the red Zerg player, himself, fighting back. Again, momentum is on his side. He's just won 2 games in a row. It is SHIN. And spawning in the bottom hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player. We have the South Korean Protoss representing T1. It is herO. Here we go. As we are getting into game number 5, the ace match here, and welcome to Sanctuary 3. Sanctuary 3 does have a rare feature, ramp. Ramp coming into the natural, so a very defendable base on 2 bases. Sorry, very defendable setup on 2 bases. Your 2-base setup is very secure. The low ground third is much more exposed. Then you have the triangular third, which is in a better position, but this area in between the bases can be abused. We have seen hyper aggression from Terran and TVP and Zerg and ZVP go for these big like 3-base all-ins, secure this low ground location, and then either push into the third or push into the natural, whichever happens to be weaker. So this area here is going to be quite important when it comes to zoning your opponent and out positioning your opponent as well. What I will say is that likewise rush distance from third to third is very short, but SHIN expands on the low ground. Okay. Low ground natural base. The unnatural natural is forced out as herO does block the natural location, the second base location. We'll disrupt the opener. Likewise, what I will say, to help when it comes to all-ins and aggression, slow zones were added. Originally, these weren't there. They were added after some feedback. Likewise, we also have a bit of a choke point here as well. So this does allow for, if you're aware of your opponent being aggressive, you can try to engage ahead of time and try to take advantage of the slow zones and of the choke point as well. That's applicable here. And likewise, we have here destructible towers. So you can knock down these rocks, you can wall off this area to once again buy time and slow down an attempted all-in. So there are some features here that allow you to defend, but you do require scouting ahead of time to make use of them. So that's true. If you get caught with your pants down, like, aggression can still hit very hard. Still hit quite hard. As for now, we're just going to be opening up Hatchgas Pool, standard opener outside of the unnatural natural. Likewise, we will soon get our tech of choice. We'll see what herO goes for. We've seen some Twilight Council play, we've seen some Stargate play. We mentioned earlier that herO, he did say himself that he ran out of builds. We did see some cheeky builds with fleet beacons, which was very fun, of course, but we haven't seen that since. That was in game 2 and game 1. What else haven't we seen? I wouldn't be opposed to, especially on this map, say like a Stargate opener into early Twilight Council into like 3-base. Is it too out of meta going for like a 3-base 8-gate all-in with Blink? With Blink, maybe +1, but this time without any sentries, like heavy stalkers. I mean, that can work well if your opponent goes Roaches. If they go Ling Hydra, it can be harder to pull off. We'll see. For now, Stargate. Stargate opener out of herO. Going back to basics. Likewise, SHIN just droning, saturating. We'll see if SHIN goes for an early Roach Warren or Evo Chamber. That will tell us what kind of army SHIN wants to build up. Evo Chamber typically means +1 melee and a heavier Ling count. Roach Warren into Roach Ravager. Hello. Esther, herO. We mentioned earlier that, of course, when it comes to the changes being made here, you no longer need gateways for fast warp-ins across the map. So these proxy pylons are stronger. They are much stronger and much harder to scout. SHIN is looking though. No shot. Oh my god, he scouts literally all around the pylon. He barely doesn't see it. Again, he's being very adamant when it comes to his scouting. I want to give him credit, of course. He's looking. And it is going to be the Roach Warren. Okay, so early Roach Warren behind the mineral line. Not Evo Chamber. Based on its placement here, it looks like this might lead into a German taxi. That's the first thing that pops up in my mind. But we'll see when and if he cuts workers. Perhaps they do threaten a shade. So far, trading well. Shaving off all the Zerglings. Okay, so better trade for herO. Shaves those things. Has the option to reinforce. Yep, there we go. Does reinforce. Uh-oh. And again, this kind of aggression, this committed aggression isn't really seen in the previous version of the game. To reinforce this quickly. Lings can move this around. Oh, dusts around the army though. Yeah, better engage from SHIN. He dusts around. He gets 1, 2, 3, 4 adepts. Some heavy losses for herO. Shades into the main base, and he does get a couple of drones, but the body blocking. The queen is too thick. Oh my god. Yeah, nice positioning here with the queen. SHIN defends. Oh, meanwhile, the Oracle, they do hit the third. Queens that were in the main base. 6 drone kills. Not bad. 7, 8, 9. 9 drones go down. And SHIN did actually keep that Roach Warren hidden, but as you can see, SHIN is still redroning. He's redroning, resaturating. Lings, they go for the counterattack. Back and over depths. Oh, they do react in time. They pull away to the battery. Well, the Oracles that make it back home, and herO holds. So nice defense out of herO. And you can see that SHIN, despite the early Roach Warren, no roaches. Lair is on the way. Later Evo Chamber as well. We're teching up. We're teching up into +1 range, into Roach speed. Oh, plus, there we go. +1 range, into Roach speed, in towards the mid game. So SHIN is redroning, resaturating. The game will continue. Meanwhile, herO, he doubles down. Not just opening up into triple Oracle, but we have a 4th Oracle on the way, which is surprising me. Bam. Oh, where is it? There it is. Getting up to 4 Oracles. That's a bigger commitment. Every lot of scouts. We do see a bit of a later Twilight Council and Forge into +1 and Blink. Standard follow-up. Oh, my apologies. Cancels Blink actually going to charge. Okay, earlier timing. There's going to be an earlier timing available. Meanwhile, adepts, they do shed into the middle line. 5 drones do go down. Oh, did I say 5? It's getting up to 6. 7. Oh, 7. Okay, 8. 8 drones go down. Very nice damage. SHIN having a hard time keeping up with the adepts. Spire is on the way. Oh. And thanks to the quadruple Oracle, does deny the expansion. Very nice. So in general, herO does have the advantage. herO's killed how many drones? 8. Look at the traits. 18 drones have gone down. A couple of overlords. Denies the expansion. Cancels the 4th base. This is all well and good. This is great. But Spire hasn't been scouted, right? The Spire's not been scouted. And we have no blink. It's charged. So very limited anti-air. Mutaplay, unscouted, can pop off. As it will not be blink. And currently nothing shoots up. We will soon have access to Archons and Storm and Vanilla Stalkers at least, but anti-air is very limited. Lings, they do get across the map, but the last level is solid. Oracles, he wants another cancel. Does he get it? It's going to be close. Yeah, it's going to be very close here. The Oracle does pull away, and the base is barely safe, but does get very low. And here we go. 13 mutas are on the way, and herO still has no idea. Still doesn't know. herO does try to move out. Blink has now begun. I mean, hey, that's a lot of charge thoughts. We spoke about the timing earlier. +1 is complete. And he wants the queens. Yeah, he dives on the queens. Nice positioning, but 1, 2 queens going to be going down. 3. Yeah, 3 queens do fall. Zealous, they try to get into the middle line. Mutas are revealed, and mutas will clean this up. But not without losing every single queen, though. Okay. Queens go down. Hatchery as well. That's a lot of mutas. 13. 13 mutas have hit the field. And here he's trying to react. Making phoenixes. Cannons and batteries are on the way. herO did some decent damage, but alas, he's lost map control moves. They get across the map. They bust into the mineral line as well. 3 probe kills, crazy damage. Yeah, 3 probes, and they get on top of the Phoenix. Does pull away in time. Batteries are done. Okay. We have our batteries. Oof. Cashing out a cannon. The Phoenix, sorry, the meters are getting very low. They're getting very low here. Oh, the Archon shot. Oh my god. Archon volley goes up. Meters being hunted down. So far, better trades for herO. Better trades for herO here. It is how many? 8 Mutalisks for 7 probes? No shot. Crazy damage. At the same time, we have roaches. Yeah, the main army moves in. SHIN reinforcing with roaches. Stalkers out of position. And probes go down. Yeah, heavy damage here. 12 probes do fall. It's going to be a tough hold. Zells, they do finish warping in. We're getting some of the roaches. Archons, they tank well. Yeah, the Archons are trying to tank. 1 Archon falls, 2nd Archon as well. Down to just the Immortal. And herO does hold on, he does defend, but he will lose so many workers. 16 probes go down. Heavy economic losses here for herO. Will punish, will give chase. True. Hunts down more roaches. The pilot is still alive, by the way. from the beginning. The MVP pilot from the beginning of the game. He reinforces, he can just go. He can send it. Yeah, the reinforces that much faster. Does push in. The Immortal's on the way. We need that Immortal, though. The Immortal's coming in. And denying some of the Ravagers. Yeah, massive pick off. Ravagers are denied. There are zero meters left. Ooh, the Immortal, though. Oh, the Immortal goes down. Unable to lift in time. It doesn't quite lift, and herO barely doesn't have enough here. I say that we have more reinforcements. He has more weapons. herO, can he do it? He's so close. He's so close. We have 11 more roaches on the way. Oh my god. More roaches being produced. Immortal has arrived. Lings are trying to collapse in. God, again, these reinforcers, they hit so quickly. Yeah, they arrive so fast. herO playing it safe. Holding back with the Immortal. Takes down the Muta. Yeah, nice lift here on the Ravagers as well. Does get 1. Immortal's exposed. Massive pickup. Takes down the Immortal. And the Phoenixes. Now it's just Blink Stalkers. Purely Blink Stalkers here. herO, he does not have enough momentum. Not enough army. It was close. But he lost the MVP pylons down. That was the heart of the army, papi. Yeah, the pylon gets shut down. Back at home, we are rushing Mothership, which is crazy, by the way. Like, we're trying to rush Mothership, I should emphasize, but it feels like SHIN, he has a little bit too much momentum. He's on 67 workers, 3-base saturation. What's important, though, is that he has been able to preserve his army, right? That's what's important, is that despite the economies being very close, if not in favor of herO, actually, SHIN, he has more efficient mining, he has a 4th base, and he's been able to retain the Ravagers. Retain the Ravagers, retain the Roaches, retain the army. On top of that, sure, we have a Mothership on the way and a carrier on the way, but remember, we already have the Spire. We can make Corruptors. Like, SHIN, he has access to Corruptors anyway. SHIN, he has access to anti-air. And again, it was close. It was close. Casito, papi, casito. SHIN does push up the ramp. Again, there are no batteries. There are no batteries set up. The Immortal's exposed, and SHIN, he overwhelms. He snowballs out of control, takes down the Immortal, busts into the mineral line. The boys are trying to pull away. Recall back home. Mothership moves in. Can cloak. Yeah, it does activate cloak, and with that herO, he will hold. And again, I would say the herO would be in, like, he has potential with this if we didn't have such an amazing economy behind this, and the Spire. The cloak defends. Stalkers get caught. Cloak runs out. Roaches, they just keep rallying in anyway. Who needs Corruptors? Like, just everyone with pure Roach, and with that SHIN, he will break that 3rd expansion. Breaks down the mineral line as well. And eventually, the carrier and Mothership will kill everything eventually, but it's gonna take too long, baby. Too long. GG. SHIN, he will claim the series 3-2, and SHIN, he will be this week's Sparkling Tuna Cup champion. GG. GG, well played. I say this week's champion, technically the first champion of the patch. True. This was the first tournament of the live patch, and SHIN, who'll be our first champion. GG, well played. We did have a back and forth, and again, herO, he had some very unique builds for game 1 and game 2. If you remember, herO said it himself that he ran out of builds. He ran out of builds after those first 2 games. We did see herO freestyling quite a bit. We saw him go like double Void Ray into like a ground switch. We saw the, if you remember, it was on Old Sun Temple. On Old Sun Temple, herO, he went for 2 base 8 gate all in with Blink and with Mass Sentry. If you remember, he did not saturate his third, not fully. So an earlier kind of all in, and it had potential for sure, but he lost so many sentries. There was some miscontrol there, and herO got shut down. Likewise, on Fear and Faith, we saw herO go 2 gate Blink into Glaives into a third. After the Glaive Adepts got shut down, he could not defend his third base. A really quirky build that, again, some really exploratory builds. The 8 gate all in with Mass Sentry and the 2 gate Glaives into a third base on Fear and Faith. 2 very, very interesting builds there from herO, and alas, they didn't quite pan out. They got shut down. And then here we finally saw something a little bit more standard. Unfortunately, herO, he went for a very zealot heavy style against Mass Mutas. They did do some decent damage. herO was able to counterattack, but herO lost so many workers, who was forced into the all-in. As herO was distracted by the Mutas, Roaches, they took down the mineral line at the third base. If you remember, 12 probes went down, so herO was forced to counterattack, forced to all in, and it was close. It was close. He almost broke that expansion, but alas, again, SHIN, he had more efficient mining, he had more reinforcements. GG, well played with that. Congratulations. Congratulations here to SHIN for claiming the series. Shout out to herO for fighting back and making a series out of it. Once again, this patch is very controversial, for good reason. The PTR was pushed live very quickly after the second iteration. I will say that a lot of changes were made to this patch. Some changes that I kind of glossed over and I didn't really get to embrace. But when it comes to the resources, when it comes to the lava spawn rate, I think the lava spawn rate is right now like the biggest issue. Obviously, there are some people that are very adamant about the worker start change for sure. But when it comes to the balance of the game, the lava production rate is kind of like one of the bigger things that's currently impacting a lot of Zerg versus X matchups, Zerg versus Terran and Zerg versus Protoss, as they have like a faster kind of growth into the mid game and into a later game as well, with faster droning, with faster army production as well. And depending on testing, of course, and depending on how things pan out, I can see a world where Blizzard steps in and they adjust this. I'm sure that they're probably going to wait a little bit here for some of these events to pan out. We have heard that because there are some big tournaments on the horizon, like Homestory Cup and Masters of the Game, they might even make a mod, like a 12 worker start mod instead. Or sorry, I say 12 worker start mod. They might make a mod which is just the previous patch, because the working count isn't like the biggest thing, as I mentioned. Like there's other factors at play here, so they might even just do that just to play with a previous version of the game, which would be crazy, by the way. But we have had situations like that where we had to use mods to, like, quote unquote, like fix the game or play a different version. The big notorious one is the Cyclone. Remember, the Cyclone was bugged for a long time, and tournaments, ourselves included, we were running an event, or running our events with a Cyclone fix mod. So that was a thing for like almost a year. So stuff like that has happened before, but we'll see what happens when it comes to some of the other tournaments, and we'll see if Blizzard does eventually step in to patch the game after, of course, some testing, and after we get a little bit more experience with the mod. I'm curious to see how that does all pan out. I should also mention as well that I said this earlier, my belief is that we probably won't get any kind of major changes. If there were to be a patch in the future, it's going to be like bug fixes, because again, right now the current game is very buggy, so I can see a lot of bug fixes on the horizon and potentially a lot of like number changes. But I feel like the foundation of what the patch is probably going to stay there, in the sense that they're probably going to stick with the low worker count. They're probably going to stick with the changes to like the ghosts, and changes to like the High Templar, and changes to things of that nature. I can see them messing around with some of the numbers here and there for sure, like the lava spawn rate, or maybe the cost of warp gates, for example, things like that. But I think for the most part, they're probably going to stick to like what the core foundation of this patch does entail. But we'll see. Regardless, we shall see. No, excited. I really wish they would revert the 8 worker start. I don't think the as I mentioned, as I was alluding to earlier, I think there are other things that are like worse than the 8 worker start. Like in my mind, like the larva change is like a more impactful thing that's like obscuring other like aspects of the game and making things a little bit harder to test, at least in my opinion. There we go. There we go. Oh, just catching up. All I really want is all-ins from hidden pylons. Yo, that pylon was the MVP that last game. Did a lot for herO. Did a lot for him. But otherwise, the lava thing is a direct change to adjust the starting workers. It is. I think we spoke about this earlier. Just to make things clear, the reason why the lava change was implemented was to allow Zerg players to keep up because of the lower worker start change. But if you recall, we mentioned that that to me at least it feels like this was a change designed to help Zerg in the early game, whereas Blizzard didn't really foresee how it would impact the mid to late game as well, like the rest of the game. Like they didn't. If it looks like they didn't fully understand what they were doing. Like to put that the nicest way possible. Like it looks like they didn't understand how it would impact everything else. They were just focused and fixated on trying to fix like a certain aspect of the game, and then it changed so much more. And they're like, oh god. So that's kind of like the vibe that we get, which is it doesn't feel good, like seeing Blizzard potentially make a mistake like that. And they did pull back on it, if you recall. Like the lava change was faster. It was like 9 seconds. They moved it to like 9.5. It's still quite fast, but they did pull back on it a little bit at least. Do you think the range of the meta will increase? It's difficult to say. Like so I think the biggest problem right now with Protoss matchups is that we have only had like 2 days of testing the 25-25 resource change for warping in a warp gate, right? I think that's one of the bigger issues right now, is that we have had so little time with that change specifically to fully understand how that impacts. For example, like I haven't seen much like mid to late game TVP, and this is something that is going to impact that, right? It's like, because when it comes to Protoss players in the previous version of the game, gaining map control, dominating the map, of course, building up an economy, and being very gateway centric, a change like, you know, extra cost for the warp gates is going to impact that, right? It's going to impact all like warp gate like base play from Protoss, and it is going to slow that down at least a little bit. And is it going to be enough? Hard to say. Maybe not, maybe so. But like there's a lot of aspects of the game that we have yet to really experience or see, because we've had so little time with it, right? Like we had a bunch of changes added to the game like 2 days ago. And then bam, they push it live, and we haven't had time to test it, so we just don't really know. And again, like because of the lava change, like we're not seeing a lot of those changes either. I think another example is the ghost change, right? The ghost is different from 3 days ago to 2 days ago. The ghost has been nerfed a little bit because of the strength that it had in late game ZVT. We haven't seen any late game ZVT in these past 2 days, right? Like we haven't been able to see if the changes to the ghost are good or not, right? If they've gone far enough or not. Like we just haven't been able to test it because we just went live with the patch, right? So it's hard to say with any confidence how the meta is going to change or how it's going to develop with such limited data at the moment, because we had so little time with PTR2, right? PTR2 was with us for like 2 days, which is crazy. So it's hard to say with certainty for that specifically. After watching this tournament, I'm much more hopeful about the patch. I agree. I agree. Like, honestly, so I know there's a lot of doom and gloom about the patch, and I fully understand it. Like, I'm very much so on board with the idea that this patch is undercooked and it went live too soon, but I appreciate how a lot of the diversity that we saw in this tournament and how herO performed, and even how Bjorn performed as well previously, with a lot of builds of choice. Like, but again, a lot of this is because like people still don't know like what works and what doesn't work, and there's still some perceptions about the play as well. Like, for example, like Bjorn was going for a lot of hyper aggressive all-ins, which kind of fell in their face. But I feel like a big reason for that is because of how strong the lava change was previously, and I don't know if it's as strong now. And it's, yeah, we just need to see more games. I think the hope for me is that we do get an update to the patch once we get a better idea of what works and what doesn't work. But at this point I might be too hopeful. Like, for Blizzard to push the patch through after 2 days, like it doesn't bode well, right? Like, it doesn't feel good. Like it feels like they're rushing things. It feels like you get the impression that Blizzard doesn't care, right? Like, to do something like that, like that's the impression you get, right? For them to push a patch after 2 days, like it doesn't feel good. So I definitely understand some concerns from the people. I'm concerned. It's PTR 2 and then PTR 2.5. True. 2.5. But regardless, with that, we're going to be wrapping up here for the time being, and you know, despite the concerns that we have for the current state of StarCraft, I'm hoping that you know, Blizzard are able to step in and have like a patch that can maybe like fix some things or change some things and pull back in some way when it comes to certain aspects of the game. That's our hope, Bappy. That's and of course, constructive criticism, like in like Reddit or other places where feedback is collected, is always advised. If you come in saying like StarCraft is dead, I'm not going to play this game, then it's just not going to listen to you. So important to be concise, be constructive, ideally. But with that, going to be wrapping up. With that, we're going to be wrapping up here for the time being. Again, if you want to tune into more of our content, we should be live tomorrow morning with the PvZ Cup. Oh, let me just quickly, bam, open that up. Shout out to Bjorn, of course, for winning the raffle. And again, congratulations to SHIN for becoming our first the first champion of this patch, of course. First champion, true. This week is going to be very busy. So Wednesday, we have PvZ Cup. That's going to be in around 11 hours time. We have the podcast Wednesday evening, and we have Doyo Cup. Doyo Cup is going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. For those that are unaware, Doyo Cup is a Legends event. It's going to be a big, massive tournament, a group stage into playoffs, featuring innovation, impact, featuring fantasy. Neeb is coming back, Scarlet as well, Sue, I want to say Dongrei-gu, I think DRG as well. Oliveira is going to be there. A bunch of players, a bunch of old school players will be arriving. Trap is going to be playing. A bunch of retirees are going to be returning for a big event in China, and we're going to be casting that in English throughout the course of the week. So again, 4-day event, a lot of content, a lot of StarCraft. Again, it's obviously very nostalgia based, and don't expect the highest level of play, but at the same time, it's also a new patch and a new map pool. So you know, I want to say that a lot of players are kind of exploring StarCraft at the moment anyway. So when's a better time to return to the game and have a Legends show match like this? So again, that is going to be later on this week. Do look forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's what we're going to be fixating throughout the course of the majority of the week as well. Meanwhile, I'm a little bit on the fence about PvZ Cup tomorrow morning. We'll see if we have time in the morning. We should be able to cover it though. Should be able to. Otherwise, we're going to be wrapping up. Here we go. Gotta be wrapping up. Conspiracy theory time. Blizzard incarnates Yoshi moonlighting, and he's trying to recruit Protoss to play Deadlock. Oh no. True. But with that, we're going to be wrapping up. Going to be wrapping up here for the time being, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for PvZ Cup or for the podcast. The podcast is our weekly talk show where we talk all things StarCraft. Also, I should mention that up until for the past couple of months, we haven't been casting Kung Fu Cup or What Is to Be Monday live. That might be changing soon, though, where we're going to be covering some of those events live just to get as much experience on the new patch as possible. So look forward to that next week. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Until then, ciao. Ciao. See you next time, and enjoy yourselves. When it comes to other tournaments that are not Cranky Duckling related, again, we have the PvZ Cup later on tonight. Let's see here. I think that's it. Am I crazy? Because we had Monday Night Weekly last night. We have What TV Mondays last night as well. Yeah. We'll be wrapping up. So we'll see you guys next time. Oh yeah, right, true. Master of the game is going to be this weekend, and might be on a mod as well, which would be crazy. But we'll see you next time. Until then, ciao. Happy ciao. See you next time.